To help put the issues into proper context and get a sense of some issues in the polity, I'm joined by Reno Omokri, a political analyst, columnist, and author. Hello, sir. It's good to have you join us on Politics on Sunday.
Thank you for having me, Femi. God bless you.
Well, before we go into matters of the economy, especially the Fitch ratings, I would like to first start with security. You know, we saw that statement or alarm raised by the governor of Borno State talking about a resurgence of the Boko Haram insurgency in Borno State. And the comment of the Minister of Information, he came out to also put it in proper context, what he meant when he responded to that. But, you know, the governor, Borno State governor, was also asked a question where he said, well, the Minister of Information is naive and do not know exactly what is happening across the country. Some people say, well, these are very strong statements. The Minister of Information for the federal government, naive? And not knowing what is happening in the country. How do you respond to all of this, and what does this mean for Nigeria's security, especially with the governor's claim of a resurgence of Boko Haram?
Well, you know, the governor was responding to fake news in that instance. I think I watched the video, it was on News Central. He was actually responding to fake news because Vanguard, Punch, and The Nation actually carried the proper context of what the minister said. The minister never said that the governor was ignorant. An online blog, you know, they made a headline, and that's just generally the nature of these blogs. To drive traffic, they're going to sex up their headlines. And the governor was responding to that, and the minister never said anything like that. I actually, earlier today, sent a transcript of what the minister said to a senator from Borno State, so he could actually pass it on to the governor. What the minister said is that the governor, Professor Zulum, is a respected leader. That's a direct quote. So he praised him, he empathized with him, then he now went into the nitty-gritty of what was happening in Borno State. So he talked about Operation Hadinkai. He also talked about the terror leaders, the leaders of Boko Haram and the Islamic State in the West African province that had been killed, including Danfulani Fari, including Amir Mudu, including, you know, several others like Munzir Azika and others that were killed. Then he talked about what was planned for the future. He talked about Operation Kalachen Wuta. So this is going on with Operation Hadinkai. And one of the things that the governor has to understand is that if he says these things in public, it makes in fact, it emboldens the terrorists, because it looks as if, okay, well, the federal government and the state government are at loggerheads. And don't forget that that's what these terrorists want. So there are probably better ways that the the governor could have communicated with the minister. First and foremost, the minister did not say that. And then even after the minister had spoken, the minister also issued a clarification statement, because we all saw that news headline from the blog, and you know, a lot of people were alarmed by that. The minister actually issued a statement. So there was absolutely no reason to say that the Minister of Information is suffering from naivete. I mean, if you look at the history of Nigeria, we've only had two ministers that are at this level, Alex Akinyele and this current minister, people who are PR professionals. You know, so we have something in Nigeria called the NIPR, National Institute of Public Relations. So these are two professionals that are there. And if you look at the statement that the minister made, I mean, it was quite detailed. What people have to understand there is this, is that Nigeria has a border in that region with Cameroon to the east and then with Niger to the north. And so no matter how clean we do ourselves, no matter how much we attack terror, no matter how much we, put systems in place, we cannot go into our neighboring countries and then just begin to attack terror there. So what we have to do, while we are working on our situation at home, if you have people coming in from Niger, because you have to understand, Niger ended their partnership with France and with the United States, and so there's been like a resurgence of terror activities in Niger. If people come into Nigeria from Niger, there's very little you can do except you can fight them in Nigeria, but you can't enter into Niger and fight them. If people come in from Cameroon, you can fight them in Nigeria, but you cannot enter into Cameroon. So unless our neighboring countries are coming into the war on terror with the same commitment as Nigeria, we're going to be having these opportunistic crimes that are happening in Niger. And if you look at what's happening right now, if I ask you a question, name the leaders of Boko Haram today, you cannot name the leaders of Boko Haram today or ISWAP because they have been decimated. What you now have are a ragtag group of people who are using IEDs, improvised explosive devices. So they just put them on the road, and it's very hard for you to attack people or to, let's say, neutralize people who are using IEDs. If you look at Borno State, for instance, Borno State is 3 times the size of Belgium. If you go back to the Second World War, it took the Allies 5 years to clear Belgium of the insurgents. Now, if you now look at Borno State, no government in this world will be able to put soldiers everywhere simultaneously in Borno State. But the main work has been done. If you look at the Timbuktu Triangle, that region has been cleared. But as long as Nigeria shares borders with Cameroon, with Niger Republic, you're going to have people coming in, no matter how much we clean ourselves up.
Mr. Awokri, we have also seen